Um, if you are a game engine developer, um, it is useful for you to take time to learn your the tools that you will be using. Um, and believe it or not, one of the tools that I recommend you to take some time to invest some time on learning is the modeling software tool that you will be using for your engine. In this case, what I use Blender 3D. This is the modeling software tool that I use. Um, and the reason why I suggest you to take some time to learn it is because number one, it's going to help you a lot when it comes to understanding computer graphics terminology, such as vertices, normal vectors, UV coordinates. Um, you know, uh, when it comes to animations and you want to develop your animation system in your engine, it's going to help you a lot in understanding how the bone of the armature exerts a force around the vertices of your character. For example, um, let me see if I have. Here's my astronaut walking, and let me go to the animation here. All right, you see how the armature here is actually changing my uh, the location of my vertices, right? It basically is deforming all of my vertices, and all of that is happening because of the bones that you see here. That is what makes making everything possible, right? Um, Understanding how that works, if not, I'm sorry, visualizing how that works will help you tremendously when you are developing the animation system for your engine. I cannot tell you I cannot recommend this enough. Do take some time to learn this tool. You do not have to become an artist. Just take time to understand how things work. It's just gonna make life so much easier. Believe me. For example, when it comes to UV coordinates, right? If you're completely new to computer graphics, you'll be like, what is that? What is that? Why do I need to do that? Well, um, the UV coordinates basically are used to help the GPU um, apply an image to your character, right? Uh, this the image that I have here is provided to your shaders, to the fragment shader, where it uses the UV coordinates to apply it to the geometry of your character, etc. So this is very useful to actually visualize it. When I started developing my engine, I was reading all of this just from a book, and they would talk about UV coordinates, but I couldn't really make sense of it until I started using Blender and really getting my hands dirty, and it really helped a lot. It helped so much. Um, the other thing why I recommend you to use this tool is because, um, you know, again, you don't have to be an artist, but eventually you will be buying 3D models from other marketplaces out there, such as Blender Market or CGTrader.com or TurboSquid.com, etc. And many times the 3D characters that you buy, they may not be formatted properly, and whenever you try to render the character on your custom made engine, it may not work, and you'll be wasting a lot of time thinking that the problem may be your rendering engine, when it basically it's not. It's just that it was not properly set, that the character was not properly formatted to be used in your engine. Let me give you a good example. Um, for a long time I was having problems with characters. If whenever I wanted to scale the characters, um, something big, right, and I would render a character like this, it would fail. It would give me my game engine would give me a bunch of problems, and I was always wondering why is that happening, right? Why sometimes it works and why if I scale something it doesn't work. Well, I realized after playing around with that tool that my scaling here needs to be set to 1. My dimensions can change, yes, like you can change the dimension, you can make something big, but the scale needs to be proportional to 1. And that's when I learned, that I have to change the rotation and make it all of it to 1. Now, as you see here, now if I render this, it will work properly, it will work just fine. Then there were times that, for example, this guy was rotated in such a way like that, right? And you would think, well, the scale is 1:1. What's the problem now? Why is it rendering incorrectly? Well, then I realized that my rotation here needs to also be set in such a way that it's always 0, and that way it will the engine will properly render my character. This made me waste a lot of time, but eventually I started making sense of how things work, and now I know Blender. I'm not an expert, and believe me, I cannot do any of these 3D models at all, but I know my way around it. I know what things what could be causing my engine to break when it comes to rendering a particular entity. So I want to share that with you. Do take some time to learn your tools. It will help you in the future.